And if you don't, know, now you know.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. There's just one thing I wanna say. The real, yo. There's just one thing I wanna say.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, back once again on my channel. It's been a minute. Got a call from my brother Rabbi Lewis. My brother Lewis, not Rabbi. We don't call him one that no more. Calling him Mashiach Yahushai. And we'll have a discussion. Is Paul an Edomite according to the text of the Bible? So we're just having a discussion about Paul. Is he an Edomite according to the Bible? So with that, let me first bring on Brother Lewis. We bring him on to the stream live. Shabbat Shalom, brother.
Shabbat Shalom, brother.
You have an intro for the people?
What an honor to be on your show, brother. Akmayan. It's an honor, brother.
You're welcome, brother. Give me time to put your get my volume up. You have an intro for the people, Lewis?
I'm in the Shaitan Rajim, Bismillah, I'm in the name of Allah, the most merciful, especially merciful. I've been witness no God but Allah, and Muhammad is merciful. My name is Rabbi Lewis. Can you hear me?
Come.
Yeah, what about me? I'm a published author, written over 40 books. My background is in parasitology, investment banking, and Arabic studies.
Okay, all right. With that, I have another brother that want to join us. My brother Alan Nathaniel on. He's gonna give us a brief intro about himself, and we'll go from there. Shabbat Shalom, Alan Nathaniel.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Akim. My name is Alan Nathaniel. I'm part of the church of the True Church of the Firstborn. I've been in this walk for going on 5 years right now, and I'm just happy to be here.
All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High for that. Okay, Lewis. Okay, man, you can start out, man. Your discussion. So, is Paul an Edomite? You have something in the Bible, some kind of source you're going to pull out, start with?
Inshallah. This khutbah means lecture in Arabic. This khutbah is engendered around the fact that, sorry for the background, can you hear me?
Yes.
This khutbah is engendered around the fact that Apostle Paul of Tarsus was an Edomite. Despite the claim, his placated claim or elevated claim that he was a Benjaminite, from the Hebrew of the Hebrews. So we're gonna be diving in tonight, inshallah.
Okay.
We can't hear you, brother.
You can't hear me?
Yeah, you couldn't hear you. I can hear you now, brother.
Yeah, you need to share your screen or something to show your sources and stuff about Paul being an Edomite?
Nah, just my book. I wrote a book on this. I'm a published author, as I said earlier. I think that's relevant. If you could just pull my book up real quick. If you could share a screen, brother, that's okay.
Yeah, Shami, go ahead. I don't see this. You trying to share a screen?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have to share your screen.
Unfortunately, I'm on the iPhone. I can't share a screen. You have to share a screen for me if that's something you do on your show.
I can, but if you got to share if you can't share from your phone, then how am I going to share share what you have?
Yeah, the name of the book is Apostle Paul the Edomite, Black Hebrew Israelites and Christians Debunked by myself, Rabbi Lewis. Again, I'm a published author myself, and I'm an academic.
Okay. Lewis, we talked about this last time about you getting on a computer so you can be able to share your screen.
Oh, brother, I forgot about it. Brother, I've been so busy, man. All due respect, I'm not going to be crass. Like, I forgot about that. But we'll make do, man. We'll make do like this.
Well, we don't want to hear the evidence for him being an Edomite. Don't want to hear your evidence.
Yeah, I have empirical data and some dynamic proof for this.
Okay, how are you going to present it on the show tonight so people can see?
Yeah, just as long as we got a reader, that's fine. We're going to go to the Bible. We're going to be exegeting this with the Bible.
Okay, what verse in the Bible you want to go to, so I can share that. You know what I'm saying?
Brother, of course, we're gonna get busy. You talking to us? I'm a swordsman, brother. We swordsman up here, bro.
That's right. Okay, let me know what verse you want to go to, and I can go ahead and start to share that, and we can go from there.
Yeah, certainly. I gotta get started. You ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Let's dive in. He's playing no games. Akmayan is playing no games. Okay, give me let's get started with give me Acts chapter 24, verse 24.
Okay.
We'll put it on the screen.
One second here. Pulling it up. Okay, we're here on the screen. We got Acts 24, verse 24. It says, and after certain days, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, which was a Jewish, he sent for Paul and heard him concerning the faith of Christ.
Con. So Drusilla here, you know who Drusilla is, right? You know her father was, right?
I'm not recalling.
You don't know. Does anybody know?
I gotta look through my notes, but you go ahead and tell us.
So read that again, brother.
And Acts chapter 24, verse 24. And after certain days, when Felix came with his wife Drusilla, which was a Jewish, he sent.
Which was a what? A Jewish. So that means like a female. That means a medical. That's she called the Jewish. Now, who was Drusilla, guys? That's the $1 million question, right? On the table. Drusilla was the daughter of Herod Agrippa, who was an Edomite, king of Judea. So she's being called a Jewess, despite the fact she was the son of a. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, you got a little background noise. I'm sorry. It's a little echo. So, Drusilla's being called the Jewess in Acts 24. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Drusilla's being called a Jewess in the book of Acts, despite the fact that her father was an Edomite, Herod Agrippa, the king of Jerusalem. So just because Paul calls himself a Jew means nothing, because Drusilla herself was being called a Jew, despite the fact her father was Herod Agrippa, an Edomite, and she had no Jewish blood. But that's headshot already. But let's keep going. I don't know if you want to address that first.
Okay. I mean, do you? Okay. So, are you saying because the text referred to Drusilla, a daughter of Herod, who we know is an Edomite, as a Jewish, then if you're saying if any person in the Bible claimed to be a Jewish, that doesn't make them from the nation of Israel, you saying?
I'm saying because the whole hermeneutic is what Paul calls himself. He places himself as an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin. He keeps reiterating that, parenthetically speaking. But we have Drusilla, the daughter of Herod Agrippa, being called Jewish, which means you're from the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Because after Solomon, the kingdom was split between Jeroboam and Rehoboam. Correct? Would you agree?
Yes.
So the kingdom got split because Hashem told him, Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh told Solomon, you had too much blood on your hand. So I'm going to take 10 tribes away from you. Give me Jeremiah 3:8 real quick. So Hashem told, I'm going to take 3 tribes away from you, 10 tribes, and give it to, what's it, Jeroboam or Rehoboam? I'm sorry, I forget.
Okay, I mean, are you are going to address the point about Herod being a convert, though, right? Why did she be called that?
Okay, before we do that, give me Romans 16:11 real quick. Then we go into Jeremiah 3:8.
You want Romans first?
Yeah, 16:11, I believe. Let me get that. Let me make sure I got the right verse. Yeah. Romans 16:11, please.
Romans chapter 16, verse 11. It says, "Salute Herodion, Herodion, my kinsman. Greet them that be of the household of Narcissus, which are in the Lord."
Right. Would it possible except salute Herodian, my kinsman? Who was Herodian? These are Herodian was the Edomites. So right here, Paul calls Herodians his kinsman because he was an Edomite. Herod was his father. Let's keep proving that. Before we go there, give me Jeremiah 3 and 8 real quick. Before we go digress back into that. I'm gonna show you how the northern and southern kingdom was split in the first century. We'll see.
Bro, hold on. Give me one. Someone is calling. 1 second, brother. I'll be right here. 1 second, okay?
Okay.
1 quick second, right quick. All right, I'm back. You said you want Jeremiah what again?
3 and 8.
All right. We're gonna come back to this scripture here in Romans, okay?
Of course, brother.
Jeremiah 3 and 8, okay? Jeremiah 3 and 8 says, "And I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put
I'll
her."
stop there. Backslide. That's about the northern kingdom. Go, read on, because the kingdom was split by this point. Read on.
Committed adultery, I had put her away, and given her a bill of divorce.
So Hashem divorced the northern tribes. He was not dealing with them anymore. He divorced us. Give me Colossians 2 and 14.
You know, later on in that chapter, he says he's married to them too as well. You know that, right? Just want to be clear.
Yeah, he said Hashem said I divorced the northern tribes.
Say again?
Hashem said in Jeremiah he divorced the northern kingdom.
Yeah, but he also says in the same chapter he's married to them. When you read down,
Of course, I'm about to show that. Give me Colossians 2 and 14.
Let me bring this next person on right quick. Give me 1 second. Let me bring them on. Someone else popped in. Who's this? Oh, it's Emmanuel. All right. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Emmanuel.
Shabbat Shalom, Akim.
All right, we're in Colossians chapter 2, verse 14. It says, "Blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross."
God, that's talking about the divorcement he wrote the northern kingdom. When Christ came, when he was crucified, that ended the divorcement. Those are the Gentiles that were being grafted in the New Testament. There's the northern kingdom. That's what it says. The handwritten ordinance was blotted out against us, because that's talking about when Hashem divorced the northern tribe. So we got that.
Wait, it says that it was contrary to us.
Yeah, that's talking about the bill of divorce. Give me what is that? 2 Peter 3 and 9. Let me see. We'll get that verse. Hello?
You want 2 Peter 3 and 9?
I believe, it says the wall of petition. You know that verse, right? No, you know what I want.
Let me see. 1 second. I know what you're talking about. I gotta look it up right quick.
First Peter 2 and 9.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
First Peter 2 and 9, brother. Bible can show.
1 Peter chapter 2, verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation. You want this one right here, or you want the other one?
It says wall of petition. You see that? What was that? 2 Peter 2 and 9. You see that?
You want another verse there. This ain't the verse that say that.
Sorry, guys. Let me get the verse 1 second.
It's not in Peter's, man. This is in I think this is in Colossians, man. You want something? You want the other part in I think it's somewhere in Colossians. Let me get it right quick for you, brother.
Oh, my bad. Ephesians 2 and 14.
Yeah, somewhere up there.
Ephesians 2 and 14. I got it.
Ephesians chapter 2, verse 14. For he is our peace, who have made both one, and have broken down the middle wall of partition between us.
Yeah, it's talking about the northern kingdom, the southern kingdom being one stick again, as it says in Ezekiel. Give me Isaiah 11 and 13. That's why Hashem said don't boast against the branches. It's talking about the southern northern kingdom. Let's prove that. Why Hashem in Romans said don't boast against the branches. The northern kingdom's being grafted.
You said Isaiah 11 and what?
And 13.
Isaiah chapter 11 verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
Yeah, Hashem said Ephraim and Judah will not vex or each other, or, etc. So the northern kingdom was, just give me John chapter 7 verse 35.
You said St. John? I think you wasn't clear.
John 7 and 35.
John chapter, okay. St. John chapter 7 verse 35. Then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go, that we shall not find him? Will he go unto the dispersed among the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles?
Yeah, come. So they asked, they was wondering what he was saying, because it was confounded. Where's he going? He's going to go teach the Israelites. Give me James 1:1. So the Gentiles, the word there in Greek is Helen, not ethnos. So the word there is Helen in Greek, which means like a Greek-speaking Jew for the northern kingdom. So that he was going to the northern tribes. Okay, give me James 1:1 to prove that.
James chapter 1 verse 1. James, the servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad.
To the 12 tribes scattered abroad. They were going to the 12 tribes. The tribes were dispersed at this point. So that drew the point home on that. So let's digress back to the topic.
Wait a minute. So, but this is not the northern kingdom here. This is all 12.
Of course, yeah. He went to all 12. The 12 tribes were scattered abroad. Go to Acts the 2nd chapter. It was devout Jews from every nation under heaven coming up to keep. Give me Deuteronomy 16 and 16 real quick. Let me go Acts chapter 2.
You want Acts first or Deuteronomy?
Deuteronomy 16 and 16.
All right, we need to slow down a little bit so we can try to make sure we get the correct understanding here. Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 16. 3 times in the year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God, in the place where he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles.
That's why in Acts the 2nd chapter, we'll look at Acts 2 right now. Let's get that in Acts 2. Devout Jews, go down to that verse. No verse on.
All right, let me finish this verse out. And they shall not appear before the Lord empty.
Yeah, that's why. Remember when not Daniel, in Job, when it says the Shaitan appeared before the Lord. How does it say?
Wait a minute.
Huh?
Lewis, this is targeting the feast of unleavened bread, right? The feast of weeks, right? And the feast of weeks and the feast of tabernacles, right?
And I go to Acts the 2nd chapter.
Okay.
The Jews was coming up to Jerusalem to keep the feast days.
Okay. Start at verse 1. Okay, you want to write to the verse or you want to find verse 1?
Oh, Shalaki, let me get the verse. Acts 2, let's go down to verse
5. Let's do verse 5.
Yeah. Come, verse 5.
Acts chapter 2, verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven.
Come, we were scattered abroad, so we were just coming up to keep the holy days. Give me Malachi 4 and 4 real quick.
Malachi chapter 4, verse 4. Remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel.
Con, this is the book of remembrance. It's the last book of the Old Testament. The parting words Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh had with the children of Israel was remember the law of Moses. So why would Jesus the Nazarene come and get rid of the law of Moses? Makes no sense. We could dive deep into that, but that's not tonight's discussion. So let's go back on topic because I just want to prove that the tribes were scattered.
Okay, we agree with that with the statutes of judgment here. Well, okay, no one is contesting the tribe wasn't scattered, but how does this go towards Paul being an Edomite?
Yeah, I just want to drive that point home. Now we can go back to tonight's topic, inshallah. So I got a lot to say.
I want to come deal with this. You had pulled Romans chapter 16 first, right?
Yeah, let's go back on topic. Yeah.
What verse was that in Romans 16 verse what?
That's 11.
Verse 11, right? And it says, salute Herodian, my kinsman. Greet them that are of salute Herodian, my kinsman. Greet them that be of the household of Narcissus, which are in the Lord. So you saying that Herodian here is a so-called white person?
Yeah, it's about the Herodian family. These are the royal family.
But it says my kinsman. This is a person, an individual. It's not saying that this is a group of people or they. It says salute Herodian, my kinsman. It's a singular. This is an individual.
Of course. Can I respond?
Definitely.
Paul's father was Phasael III. So Paul was Phasael III. Phasael III was Paul's father, biological father. He was the son of Herod the Great and his mother Pallas.
Well,
so,
I need one second.
Phasael III. Hold on a second. You got background noise.
No, I'm saying something. I'm not understanding what you're saying. Say real slow so we can understand the name. We can get the name you're saying.
Paul's father, biological father, was a guy named Phasael III, who was the son of Herod the Great, who tried to have baby Jesus killed. And Pallas. So Paul's grandmother was named Pallas, and his grandfather was named Herod the Great, who tried to kill Jesus. Remember, Archelaus took over. You know the story, right? In Matthew.
Okay, I'm going to pull up right now. Herod's line. They got a chart of him showing his whole family.
Before you do that, I want to say one thing. I mean, I don't want to know.
Go ahead.
Okay, so let's go back. Like I said, Paul's father. It's not in the Bible, but it's in Talmud and Roman history. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're listening.
His father was a guy named Phasael III, Apostle Paul's father, who was an Edomite, who was the son of Herod the Great. You know, who pursued baby Jesus. Remember when they fled to Egypt?
Yeah, no one pursued them. Who pursued them to Egypt?
The angel told Joseph and Mary, go to Egypt because Herod wants to kill all the Hebrew babies. We can prove that. So then Herod dies, Archelaus takes over, and then the angel tells, hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
The angel tells Joseph and Mary, go back to Bethlehem because Herod the Great is dead, and his son Archelaus took over, but they were scared and never went back to Bethlehem and went to Nazareth, I believe it was, or the other way around. That was Herod the Great, who was Paul's grandfather. That was Paul's grandfather, the one who tried to kill baby Jesus.
All right, we need some proof for that. We don't have no. You guys showed the connection between Paul and him being from there.
Of course, you don't go to Acts 23:23.
Acts 23:23.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course, we have proof of that. Hold the verse 21 through 23.
All right, let me come back and share the screen again. Okay, we're in Acts 23:23. You said 21, right?
Yeah, 21 through 20.
Acts 23:21.
Before we read that, we're going to look how Paul was about to be arrested by Felix. This dude named Felix, right? You know the story. And he had royal treatment. He had 200 soldiers, 70 horsemen, and 200 spearmen to accompany him to go get arrested by Felix, right? Can you hear me?
No, I didn't think he was going to get arrested by Felix.
That's in Acts 24. We're going to look at that. Okay, so Paul's going up to get arrested, and you'll see that the Roman commanders assigned him 470 men, personal bodyguards, 200 soldiers, 70 horsemen, and 200 spearmen. If he's just a regular Judean, why is he getting all this royal treatment? Because he was from the Herodian dynasty. You gonna prove that? Go ahead, brother.
Okay. It's Acts chapter 23, verse 21. I say, but do not thou yield unto them, for there lie in wait for him of them more than 40 men, which have bound themselves with an oath that they will neither eat nor drink till they have killed him. And now they are ready, looking for a promise from thee. So the chief captain then let the young men depart, and charge him, see thou tell no man that thou hast showed these things to me. And he called unto him 2 centurions, saying, make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea, and horsemen 70, and spearmen 200, at the 3rd hour of the night.
Here we are.
So these men, they seem to be going as protection for Paul. There's not something to do because he was from Herod's line. This is protection because they had 40 more. It says more than 40 men in wait trying to kill Paul.
Right. I understand that. So I'm gonna prove that was his Edomite. Let's prove that. So again, keep in mind his father was an Edomite. He was Herod the Great son. But let's prove that.
Right. Remember, you have not established that fact yet. You're saying it, but you have not showed it. The lineage that links him to Herod.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's just getting started, brother. I'm just getting started. I'm just warming up. No, I'm surgical with this, but not surgical. Okay, give me the verse. So there was a guy named go to 2 Corinthians chapter 11. 2 Corinthians 11 and 32. And if anybody on the panel wants to butt in, be my guest, sir.
Let me go ahead and.
You heard me?
Yeah, they got you.
Okay, good.
Let me share the screen. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, you said?
Okay, it's not copy and paste. 1 second. It's not. Let me copy and paste this.
Okay, take your time, brother. No rush. Ain't no rush. We ain't got to hurry up. We're trying to get to the bottom of this.
Okay.
There's no hurry.
I got to pull down. 2 Corinthians 11. Then go down to verse 32. 1 second. Go down to verse 30. 31 through 32.
Okay, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 31. The God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, which is blessed forevermore, knoweth that I lie not. In Damascus, the governor under Aretas, the king, kept the city of the Damascenes with a garrison desirous to apprehend me.
Right. You know what King Aretas was, right?
Who?
King Aretas. In verse 32. Read verse 32 again.
In Damascus, the governor under Aretas, the king.
Aretas. Yeah, Aretas wanted to arrest Paul.
Uh-huh.
So this is what this verse is talking about. Paul's speaking about. Do you know why he wanted to arrest Paul?
I forgot the reason why.
Well, I'll educate the audience. This is Headshot. Keep going. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead and tell him. If you know, go ahead and say it.
So here's what happened. This is works. It's in the book. You familiar with Josephus' work, right? The Antiquity of the Jews?
Yes.
You can find this information in Josephus' writings. People don't know this history, but Rabbi Lewis is going to bring it out, right? Can you hear me?
Yep.
So Aretas' daughter, right? Believe it or not, right? Married Herod Agrippa. Yeah. His daughter was married to Herod Agrippa, right? King Aretas who tried to arrest Paul. You with me?
Yep.
So Aretas' daughter had a bad breakup with Herod Agrippa, Paul's relative, his cousin or uncle, right? So King Aretas' daughter marries Herod Agrippa. They had a really bad breakup, so they ended up going to war, right? Herod Agrippa, the Herodians, you with me?
Uh-huh.
And Aretas' family went to war. This is we found in Josephus. I have the book page and everything in my book. So Herod Agrippa breaks up with Aretas' daughter. They end up going to war. It was such a bad breakup. And so that's why he wanted to arrest Paul, because he was the Herodian family. You see what I'm saying? So it was like he wanted to arrest Paul because his daughter broke up with his uncle, Paul's uncle. So he wanted to arrest Paul because he was from the Herodian line. See what I'm saying? Oh, it makes sense. So the reason why he pursued Paul was because he was Herodian. He was from the royal Herodian line, and he wanted to arrest him because they went to war with He even go to Galatians 1:17 real quick. Prove that. Hence, Paul goes back to Arabia in Galatians. Hello?
Are we still here?
Yeah, Paul goes back to Arabia because they went to war. Now, let's prove they went to war, if I could, real quick, right?
Wait, so he wanted to arrest Paul because there was a... How did that got to do with Paul?
Because Paul... No, I said Herod Agrippa married Aretas' daughter. You with me?
Uh-huh.
They had a bad breakup but ended up going to war over the breakup. They had an all-out war with the Herodians and the Aretas' family. The man had an all-out war, little war that actually took place in real history. So he wanted to arrest Paul in 2 Corinthians because he was from the Herodian line. That Agrippa was his uncle, whatever. So they were close kin, family. So that's why he wanted to arrest Paul in Corinthians, because he was from the Herodian line. Make sense?
It makes sense, but again, you have not established Paul from being from the Herodian line as of yet. We're still waiting for that link.
Certainly. So let's go to Galatians chapter 1, verse 17. This is why Paul in Galatians is in Arabia, because he was summoned to go to war in the war.
Wait a minute.
Josephus' writings. You can see this in Josephus.
You need to see the link that Paul is from the Herodian line, because everything else is not going to fit unless you first show that part. You know.
Okay. Can we do that now, or we'll go to Galatians first?
No, let's do that now.
Okay, so it's all our proof he was Herodian. Okay, let me get the verse 1 second.
All right, let me stop sharing for a second here.
You get the verse. This is all our proof. This is the headshot. Okay, hold on. Let me get the verse 1 second.
Let me say Shabbat Shalom to T Miles. Shabbat Shalom, brother. He's on the YouTube side, so Shabbat Shalom. Let me see what we have on the... Okay. Yeah, we need to see that link.
I got it. Go to Acts chapter 22, 27 to 20. This is headshot. No way around this. This is headshot.
Okay, we go in Acts chapter 22.
Yeah, 27 to 28. Hold on, let me pull it up so I can follow along.
Okay, Acts chapter 22. What verse you want?
1 second.
Okay, take your time, brother. No rush. No rush, because I was trying to find this the Herodian line. I know I just saw it.
Yeah, Acts 22, 26. This is gonna prove he was Edomite. Headshot. Acts 22, 27 to 28. Acts 22. This is headshot.
Acts chapter 22, verse 28.
You're not sharing the screen. 27 to 28. This is a discourse that Paul was having with one of the chief captains, centurions.
Give me 1 second. Pulling this up right quick. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Oh, crazy. 1 second here. Is this thing working correct? Acts 22, verse 27. Let me share the screen right quick.
26 through 28.
26 through 28. Okay.
Acts 22. This is headshot.
Acts 22, you on verse 26. Okay.
Through 28. Yeah.
2:28. It says, then the centurion heard that he went and told the chief captain, saying, take heed that what thou doest, for this man is a Roman.
Right. Paul was Roman, a Roman citizen at birth. Why is that relevant? We're gonna look now. Go ahead.
Then the chief captain came and said unto him, tell me, art thou a Roman? He said, yea. Verse 28.
Yeah, last verse 28.
And the chief captain answered, with a great sum obtained I this freedom. And Paul said, but I was freeborn.
He was freeborn. What does that mean, guys? He was a Roman citizen at birth. The centurion dude had to buy his citizenship. You get it? Paul was a citizen. Hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead,
Paul
brother.
was a citizen at birth. Why is that relevant, Lewis? What does that mean? Oh, his headshot. Okay. The only people who had carte blanche to be citizens at birth were the Herodian family under Antipater. Antipater was appointed by Augustus. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Antipater was Herodian. He was a kinsman to Paul. So that proves Paul's How, Lewis. The only people who were Roman citizens at birth were the Antipater Herodian line. Nobody could be citizens at birth but the Herodians. Now that ended under Emperor Hadrian was Emperor Hadrian.
Yes.
So Hadrian comes along and does the law and said, okay, this is after Paul was already dead. This is like 50 years after. You with me?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm with you.
So Hadrian did a law, and said, okay, anybody can be a citizen at birth. But before Hadrian, when Paul lived, the only people who were citizens at birth, like Paul was, were the Herodians under Antipater. So Hadrian comes on the scene about 50 years after Paul dies and says, okay, anybody can be a Roman citizen at birth. But before that, when Paul was alive, you with me?
I'm about to show the Herod lineage right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, so when Paul was living, the only people who were citizens at birth was the Herodian family. So Hadrian comes on the scene 70 years after Paul dies and says, okay, now anybody can be a citizen at birth. But before, when Paul was living, the only people who were citizens at birth were the Herodians. And you had to pay for your citizenship if you was not from the Herodian line. Headshot.
Okay, let me share the Herod's line. All right, so here is Herod's line right here, and he gives the scriptures too as well. Right, the Herods of New Testament. Right, Herod the Great. We got Matthew 2:1, Luke 1:5. Okay, so he married Mariani the first and Mariani the second. All right, Mithras and Cleopatra. We see their sons right here that came from them. It's all here with the scriptures. Where is Paul in this line right here, Lewis?
So I'm back. Hello?
Yeah, here's Herod's line right here. Where is Paul in this line here?
Brother, you just glossed over everything I just said. I told you. I just showed you in I just showed you that Paul was a Roman citizen at birth. And I've showed you that the only people who were citizens at birth was the Herodian family under Antipater, because Antipater was appointed by Caesar Augustus. The only people who were considered citizens at birth was the Herodian royal family. Now, can you hear me?
Am
I breaking up? Say it again.
Go ahead.
Hello?
I'm listening.
Yeah, the only people who had citizenship at birth were the Herodian family. Hadrian came on the scene and did something called the Latin laws, where he said, okay, anybody now can be a citizen at birth. But at the time when Paul was living, the only people who were citizens at birth were the Herodians. That proves he had to have been the Edomite.
Okay, so he's not in Herod's line then, because according to the Bible, it doesn't say anything like that. He's not here. I'm showing you the lineage according to the text, and so you will Drusilla is right here. She married Felix. You read that in Acts 24:24. It tells you, see, her line goes back. She comes out of Herod Agrippa the first. We see her line right here as you read it. We see right here. We don't see Paul nowhere here in this lineage chart. I'm just showing that he's not here at all. Right? Do you see that, Lewis?
Yeah. Type in let me show why that's the case. I got a bunch of scripts, but let's digress into secular history. Show that they're trying to hide this history. Type in Syrian legates.
Let me ask you a question too as well. You agree that Herod and his whole family would be considered converts, correct?
Converts. John Hyrcanus, under the Maccabees, subdued the Edomites and forced them to convert before the person in the 3rd century BC.
Yeah, so then that means they're converts. Then they're not original Israelites, they're converts, right?
Certainly.
Okay, so Paul would be, if Paul is from the Herodian line, he would be considered a convert too, correct?
Yeah, of course. But let me show what they're trying to hide history. Type in on Wikipedia, list the Roman governors of Syria real quick.
I go real slow. I'm trying to understand. If you're saying they're converts, so if they are a convert, then there is no way they can go inside of the temple. Yes or no?
No, because that temple that was there before it got destroyed in 70 AD, brother, was Herod. Herod built that. And he was an Edomite. He built that temple. He's an Edomite. Herod was unequivocally Edomite.
He
That
didn't
was
build.
his temple. The Edomites were running the temple.
He didn't build it with his hands. He paid, but could Herod go inside the temples? I'm asking.
All right. Before we look, so the history's being tempered with. Give me I got a precept. Give me
Louis,
hold on, brother. 1
let's
second,
go
bro.
real slow. Let's go real slow, brother. I'm trying to understand. You agree that Herod, a convert, cannot go inside the temple, correct?
Hold on. Go to Acts chapter 21. Acts 21 verse hello?
I'm right here.
Come. Acts 21, let's go down, get right to the point. I got some scriptures to bring up. I got a lot of scriptures. 21, go down to verse 28 to 29.
What verse 20?
Baba Kashah, Acts 21, 28 to 29, brother.
All right, let me share the screen. Acts 21.
In fact, start at verse 27 to 29. Let's get to the point. This is Paul going to the inner court with a damn Gentile. And the Jews tried to kill him because he brought a Gentile in the inner court, which is against the law. We're going to read that now.
Acts 21, verse 27. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple,
That's talking about Paul. It's talking about Paul, you know?
stirred up all the people and said and laid hands on him, crying out, Men of Israel, help! This is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people and the law in this place, and further brought Greeks also into the temple, and have polluted this holy place.
What's the point, verse 29?
For they had seen before with him in the city Tryphonus and Ephesian, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple.
Now, this is not in the text. This is in brackets. Somebody put that in there. But long story short, guys, at any rate, he brought the Gentiles in the inner. What is he doing bringing Gentiles? Just give me what the verse is at.
Louis, hold up, Louis. Okay,
Yeah. Numbers 151 real quick.
Wait, hold up.
What?
You asserting that someone inserted this in brackets. That's conjecture. You got to prove to put it in.
Anytime you see something in brackets in literature, that means it's not in the original text. That somebody interjected that. That's why it's in brackets. But go ahead.
Okay, that can be true. Because you have the entire chapter of Exodus 18 that's in brackets. You said they added the whole chapter?
That's exactly what that means, brother. If it's in brackets, that means it's not in the text. Somebody like in the Quran, I'm a Muslim. You'll see that a lot. Told it a lot. You'll see words that's added to the narrative. But give me Numbers 151 real quick.
Hold on. Before we leave here, I'm trying to go with your train of thought here, so we can get
Okay,
some.
no problem.
So if Paul brought a Greek into the temple, right, and he had polluted the place, Paul himself, according to what you're saying, would also pollute the place because he's not an Israelite.
Right. No, incorrect. The Herodians and the Pharisees were in bed, figuratively speaking. I got like 100 persons to prove. I got Mark 3, Mark 8, Mark 12, Luke 13, Matthew 22. We can go through it fast. So I'm going to show you right now that the Herodians and the Pharisees were in bed. The Pharisees were Herodians.
You are pointing out that he brought a non-Israelite into the temple and polluted the place. This is a Greek. This is a non-Israelite.
Yeah.
Okay, so you saying Paul also isn't an Israelite?
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the Herodians were running the temple at this time. It was the Herodians were running it. The Edomites owned it and ran it. That's what I'm saying.
Wait a minute. So why would the people of Israel not want to throw Paul out? But
yeah, go to Mark 3 and 6. Let's get started.
Well, I'm asking the question: why would they not want to throw him out if he's a non-Israelite, but they want to go ahead and then accuse him of bringing a Greek into the temple to pollute the place? They would throw him out first because he's one of them.
No, incorrect. I'm about to show that the Herodians were running the temple. The Pharisees were Herodians. In fact,
The Pharisees were Herodians.
yeah, I'm gonna prove that right now. I got 5 verses. First, give me Mark 3 and 6. Prove that.
Mark 3 and 6.
Yeah, I got 5 verses to prove that the Herodians and the Pharisees were in bed, so to speak.
No, you said the Pharisees were Herodians, or they were Edomites.
Yes, I'm gonna prove that.
Okay, Mark chapter 3 verse 6. And the Pharisees went forth and straightway took counsel with the Herodians against him, how they might destroy him.
Ooh, doggy. So you see right here, the Pharisees and the Herodians talking about Herod, the Edomites, were going against Christ, and that they may destroy. They were in bed. They were at one accord. So let's keep going. Give me Mark 8 and 15. You got 4 scriptures.
Okay, well, I'm saying we're going to go one at a time. This does not say that the Pharisees were Herodians, though. We agree, right?
What does it say? Exegete what it just said, please.
And the Pharisees went forth and straightway took counsel with the Herodians against him, which is Christ, how to destroy him. It doesn't say that the Pharisees were Herodians. They took counsel with the Herodians.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We're going to keep going. Mark 8 and 15.
Okay, this does not show that the Pharisees were Herodians, though. Okay. You want to go where now?
Mark 8 and 15. I got 5 scriptures.
Okay. Mark chapter 8, verse 15. And he charged them, saying, take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the leaven of Herod.
Yeah, so again, he's speaking of Herod and the Pharisees in the same kind of breath. So let's keep going. Give me Mark 12 and 13.
Okay, that does not show again that they're Mark 12 and 13. Okay, that show you. Are you saying that they're together? We can agree. Mark chapter 12 verse 13. And they sent unto him certain of the Pharisees and of the Herodians to catch him in his words.
Yeah, come. So you see the Pharisees and the Herodians being lumped together again. Now give me Luke 13, 31 through 32. Let me pull it up 1 second. You heard me?
Yeah, you want Luke?
Hold on, let me get it.
Okay, take your time, brother.
Luke 31. Yeah, Luke 13, 31 through 32.
Okay, Luke chapter 13, verse 31 and 32. All right. The same day, Luke chapter 13, verse 31. The same day there came certain of the Pharisees, saying unto him, get thee out and depart hence, for Herod will kill thee. So now the Pharisees are now helping him against Herod now, right?
Yeah, I can explain that. For in the Josephus' writings, if I can respond to that.
Yes, sir.
There were Edomites who helped the Jews defend the temple against the Romans. This is an established fact. There were some Israelites and Edomites together. Hello?
Uh-huh.
There were Israelites and Edomites who defended the temple together against the Romans. In fact, the Romans even mistook. We'll go to that next. So that happened historically, where the Romans and the Edomites and the Jews were together on some stuff to defend the temple because it was a Edomite temple. But give me Matthew 22 real quick.
Okay, let's be clear. And it's not an Edomite temple.
Of course it is, brother.
How's it an Edomite temple?
Herod built it. He was an Edomite.
Wait a minute. Herod didn't build the temple. You mean Herod beautified the temple was the temple was built by getting his what is his name again?
Well, I'll take your time.
The temple was not built by Herod. Herod didn't build the temple. Come on, bro. You know Herod didn't build this. This temple was built when it came back from the Babylonian captivity. When Herod came, the temple been up. The temple was up in the time of the Maccabees. You know this, right? You agree the temple been up before Herod got into power, right? Yes or no?
Right, of course, he edited it. He changed it.
Okay, but so it's not his temple. He might have made some changes to it, beautified it or something to add to it, but it's not his temple. Okay, he didn't originally build it. You agree, right? Because you saying he's his temple, that's not Herod's temple.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Why didn't Jesus of Nazareth complain about? Give me Deuteronomy 17 and 15 real quick.
Yeah. You want what you want again?
Deuteronomy 17 and 15. Then I had a question.
Yeah, the temple was built by Zerubbabel. That's who built. Zerubbabel and Nehemiah built the temple. 2 Israelites.
Actually, he didn't build the temple. Actually, the temple got built in. First of all, Zerubbabel was his descendant Jeconiah, who was cursed to never sit on. His descendants were cursed, does not sit on the throne. I'm gonna prove that, but
we can agree. But I'm saying the Bible says that he was the Bible. God said he gonna build a temple.
Yeah, he sent Zerubbabel back. Yeah, of course.
Okay, so
King Cyrus.
So it was him, along with Nehemiah, that built the temple.
Right. Okay. It got built. It did get built around that time. I agree.
Okay. You want what now?
Deuteronomy 17 and 15.
Okay. You want Deuteronomy 17, chapter 17, verse 15. All right, I'm still sharing. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not of thy brother.
So Hashem said in the Torah, in the Mikra, do not set a Gentile over you as king. You must be another Israelite. So the question would be, why didn't Jesus of Nazareth complain about, so somebody's texting me, why didn't he complain about Herod being on the throne of his father David? Explain. And if he did complain, show it to me. I'm done. Go ahead.
Why didn't you just complain about Herod being on the throne?
Because the Bible says that you have to be an Israelite to be appointed king. Read that again.
But thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not of thy brother.
So Yod said you cannot set a Gentile's king over you. That is forbidden. He must be a fellow Israelite. So why isn't Jesus of Nazareth saying anything about Herod being on the throne of David in Jerusalem? That's the question.
Wait a minute, but first of all, Herod wasn't sitting on David's throne. And second of all, the people did not set him as king. The Romans did that. You agree?
Of course, the Romans did appoint him. Correct.
Okay, so this verse is saying we're not supposed to do that. So if we didn't do it, then you can't fault the people because they was not in power.
No, I'm not saying why did Jesus complain about it?
Why did he complain about Herod being king?
Yes. Yeah.
Complain about what when he don't view him as the king because he's not the king. Christ is the king. He was the king. It tells you when he was a baby, he was the king of the Jews, right? Isn't what it says? You talking about the real king complaining about the fake king? Is that what you saying? Because Christ is the real king, according to the text. The 3 wise men came and gave him presents when he was about 2 years old. And he actually, so the question would be, how come Herod didn't have no problem with the wise men telling him that he came for the king of the Jews when they told him that? He said go find us, he could come worship him too as well, right? Did Herod say that? Rabbi Lewis, you there?
Yes, sir. I was looking for something. Yeah, I'm here.
So why didn't Herod protest to the wise men about them talking about some other king of the Jews when he was the king at that time? Why did he say he wanted to go worship him too as well?
2 things. Was not Herod considered a god in the Bible?
Considered a god?
Yeah, remember they were speaking him and they perceived he was a god. You know what verse that was?
No one considered Herod to be no god.
Yeah, they did. Listen, let me get the verse.
Yeah, I want to say that because Herod, I mean, if I was a king and someone came to talk about some other king of the Jews, and I was king of the Jews, I would talk about going to go worship him. I would never say that. It would have been an all out war. Yeah, we can wait for that verse that the brother he's pulling up about they consider Herod a god. I ain't you must be talking about something in Acts. It's like something in Acts about some orator where they said he sounded like a god or something, and then the angel smacked him and he died. That must be what you're looking
We're
for.
talking about. Remember, there's like, yeah, we see he's a god. Get that. Hold on.
Herod, but after Herod been dead, this is another person in Acts that he said he sounded like a god the way he was talking, and then
Yeah, get that real quick. Okay.
then the angel smacked him. You know what I'm saying?
Get that real quick, bro.
Okay. This is let me get it. Acts 24. Let me pull it up right quick. And let me get the correct verse. No, not the one you want, but it's right here. Let me get it right. I know the one you're looking for, though, Lewis. You want the one that's this guy right here was running his mouth. And
I found Acts chapter 12. I found it. Hello?
Acts chapter 12?
Yeah, I found it, brother. Acts 12.
Okay. What verse is that?
Start of verse 20 through 23.
Acts chapter 12, verse 22. And the people gave a shout, saying, "It is the voice of a God and not a man." That's what you're looking for?
Yeah. So they thought he was a god. He called him a god. The voice of God. Why did they call him a god?
So then they call him a God. They saying the people gave a shout, saying, "It is the voice of a God and not a man."
He's talking about Herod. Keep reading.
And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory. And he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost.
Yeah, it's talking about Herod, bro. It's not talking about. It's talking about Herod. You go up to verse 20, you see he called him a god. Anyway, that's because anybody who was king of Jerusalem was considered a god in the first century. If you, in fact, at hello,
Yeah, go ahead.
at the Council of Nicaea, there was 53 guys on the table to make the ultimate god, right? The Council of Nicaea. So King Constantine said, okay, we had to narrow it down to 5 gods. So they narrowed it down. Julius Caesar was considered a god. Krishna, Zeus, Horus, and Krishna, right? So to say the Horus story is identical to Jesus' story. He walked on water, had 12 apostles, born of a virgin, 12 apostles, walked on water, was crucified, was baptized, crucified and raised by the dead. So Horus story actually did influence the Jesus story. Hello?
No, how was Horus? He was chopped up in pieces.
Right. So, and I yield the floor. So like I said, when Constantine at the Council of Nicaea, where they compiled the New Testament, he said there was 52 guys at the table, 53 gods. He said we got to narrow this down, guys. So they said, okay, they narrowed it down to 5 gods to choose to make the ultimate god. Horus, Julius Caesar, Krishna, Zeus, and Julius Caesar, Krishna, Horus, Zeus, and I forgot the last one. So they took a vote to make all these guys one god, and the vote came back positive because they did a vote and they want to vote. That's why his stories have elements of different stories. Okay, now let's show that the history is being tampered with. Type in Type in list of Roman governors of Syria on Wikipedia.
We don't want to understand how you were saying about. I mean, Constantine. How they go? What they got to do with the real Messiah in the Bible? Because I mean, Horus don't. None of them fit him exactly. There are similarities. I mean, of course, but nothing. They don't fit to a T. Everything don't fit to a T.
Incorrect. The church fathers like Tertullian, for example, said that the stories not Krishna. Not Krishna. What's his name? Not Philo, not Krishna. I forgot the god's name. Sorry, it'll come back to me. Hello?
No problem, man.
He said that their stories are identical because demons knew the future. This is the church fathers' hermeneutic, that the demons knew the future, and they copied Jesus' story before he was born because they knew the demons know the future. Because that's how identical the stories are. What's the name of that god? Oh my God, I can't remember.
Lewis, how can it be identical when Jesus Christ is a historical person that lived, and them other ones there are not? They never lived. Their statues are myth. None of those are real.
Right. So to respond to that, if I could.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's no contemporary writings of Jesus. Not one.
There's not what?
There's no contemporary writings of Jesus. When I say contemporary writings, I mean people who lived at the same time as him, from
Paul.
7 BC. Hold on, brother. From 7 BC to 33 AD when he died, there's no contemporary writings. Philo never mentions Jesus. He lived at the same time. Now, Josephus mentions Jesus, but those verses were added to his work by Eusebius. So here's the question. Now you the floor. Give me one contemporary writing of Jesus. One person who mentions him who lived at the same time. Not one. It's not even one, but I'll let you try to prove it.
Josephus. You just mentioned him.
Josephus is not contemporary. Josephus, when Josephus lived, Jesus was dead. So give me a contemporary writer who lived at the same time, before 33 AD.
Did Josephus live in the first century?
No, let's get the date for Josephus. Because Jesus died in 33, correct? You agree with that?
No.
What year did Jesus die?
30.
30 AD?
Yeah.
That's even worse. So Josephus was born in 37 AD. So when he was born, Christ was already dead. So of course he was not a contemporary writer. Because when he was born, Christ was already dead. So he's not contemporary.
Wait, bro, come on. Hold it, bro. Hold it.
Go ahead.
Josephus was born in 37.
Yeah, so if Jesus dies in 38, hold on, brother. If he's dead in 30 and he's born in 37, he's not contemporary. They lived at two different time spans. Give me a contemporary writer, just one. And I see you $10. I'll cash up you $10.
Lewis, you talking about 7 years later this man was born, correct?
But bro, he wasn't writing when he was a child. He probably didn't start writing. Hold on, brother.
I'm trying to explain my point to you. What I'm saying to you, that he's contemporary.
He's not contemporary.
How is he not contemporary?
If I die, God forbid, in 2023, and then you are born in 2023, I've died 2023, you're born in 2030. We're not contemporary, my friend. I was dead 7 years before you were born. I'm not a contemporary. We don't live at the same time, brother.
Okay, so when he's writing the history of his people, correct?
What tribe was Josephus from?
Okay, was Josephus a Levite?
According to his writings, yeah, he was from the Levitical line, yeah.
Okay, so that means then he would enter the priesthood, at least according to the Torah, by what? By 20?
Right, but here's the thing. Do you know Josephus said who his God was? You know who his God was? He said was God in his writings? Who,
Josephus?
Yeah, who did he say was his God?
I don't remember. Tell me.
Oh my God. Basic history. Okay, Vespasian. Vespasian was God to him. Vespasian was the one who adopted Josephus. Vespasian was who destroyed the temple in 70 AD, brother. That was Josephus's God. He considered him his God.
You admitted that he was a Levite.
Didn't I just tell you that he thought that Vespasian was God? He would have never called Jesus God.
He didn't never. Why would he call Vespasian a God if you said he grew up a Levite? Then he would know that the God of Israel would be his God because he's a Levite. And so because Vespasian saved his life, how you gonna view him as his God? Doesn't make no sense.
In his writings, Josephus calls Vespasian God. When hold on, brother. Now, when Josephus mentions Christ, that was written by Eusebius later. Eusebius put that into Josephus's writings.
You have to prove that.
Of course, I can prove that.
Prove it. Let's see it. Prove it.
Okay. It's in the okay. First thing first. Again, Josephus considered a Vespasian God. He would never call Jesus God. Now he does mention a guy named Jesus, the brother of James, right? But those were two common names. So this Jesus Camarius. You know who Jesus Camarius was?
No, I don't know who that was.
So when Paul mentions Josephus mentions Jesus, that's not talking about Jesus from the Bible. That's talking about Jesus Camarius. Jesus Camarius had a brother named James, just like Jesus of Nazareth. So when it says Jesus in his writings, he's not talking about the Christ that we know today. He's talking about Jesus Camarius, who had the same name as Jesus of Nazareth, and he had a brother with the same name because these were common names. Hey.
That's speculation. You have to prove that. I mean, okay, let me get another source, another contemporary source, right? You ready for it?
Give me one contemporary source that mentions Jesus that lived at the same time, please.
Oh, hey, excuse me, Amayan. I got Izar on the phone. He wants to know if he can drop the food off your sister's house.
All right, I'm gonna text him, brother.
Okay, all right, cool. All right.
Okay. Paul, brother. Paul.
Not from the Bible. I mean, like an extra biblical source, not from the Bible. Hello?
Hold on.
Huh?
I have to get it for you. I have to look. One second.
It doesn't exist, brother. I'm sorry, it doesn't exist. But go ahead, waste your time.
That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. You're denying Josephus. You know what I'm saying, and making stuff up because he's 7 years later. Everybody that long. My point is that they lived in the same century.
Of course, but when Jesus was dead, he was a little boy.
300 years ago. I mean, he brought up in the same culture as this man, and he's saying anything. That means so the information that Josephus got, he got it from eyewitnesses that lived when Christ lived. Because he's just 7 years apart. So the people that was telling him about Jesus Christ would have been eyewitness to Jesus Christ. That's telling him everything that he's writing.
Give me one secular source that mentions Jesus contemporary. That's all I'm asking for, please.
Well,
just one.
But the sources is not at the same time when he lived, but the sources is maybe.
You have no contemporary writers. I'm sorry.
Listen to the fact that it matters. But you, how can you dispute? How can the enemy, the Romans, vouch and say that this man existed? How do you disagree with that?
I didn't say he didn't exist. I agree he existed. When I say Jesus didn't exist.
Okay, my point to you was that you're trying to compare a man that existed with people who never existed, which is Horus is fake. He never existed. That's myth. The man of God, you're saying, statue. They never. Those things are not real. How you can compare a real living person that lived with something that's fake? That
brother, give me one contemporary writer who mentions Jesus. That's all I'm asking for, brother.
Brother, you admitted that he was a real living person, right? Jesus Christ, right? Yes,
but okay, that's being with the bathwater fallacy. I'm asking for a source, a contemporary writer of Jesus who mentions him outside of the Bible. That's what I'm asking for.
Why do you need that?
Well, after we do that, we can go segue to the next point.
You agree that he was a historical person, correct?
I'm asking for a contemporary writer. We're not talking about this historical.
I don't have the contention here was he a historical person? And you admit to say yes, he was.
But that's not. We're not discussing the historical part. We're discussing with the contemporary writers. That's a different topic.
No. I brought up to you that you're comparing Horus and these fake gods to a historical person, and then you asked for a contemporary source, and then I mentioned Josephus, and you said, well, blah blah blah. So I said, then how can the enemy, the Romans, vouch and say this man actually lived? You said you agree that he actually existed. That's my original point. My original point was this is a historical man that actually lived versus you're comparing him to some myth that never existed.
You're moving the goalposts. Moving the goalposts. We're not discussing Jesus was historical.
I'm moving the goalpost. You said that everything about these other gods fit Christ to a T. And I said they can't because he was a historical person and they wasn't.
Brother, do you have a contemporary writer? Just give me a contemporary writer. We're not discussing he existed. We're discussing whether any contemporary writings about him. That's what I'm asking you for.
I said I don't have one right now, but the contention is was he historical? Would you agree? So we don't need that.
Of course, we still need that. The burden of proof, the elephant in the room, if you will, is still
Okay,
proving that you have to prove. You have to give him a contemporary writer. If you don't have a contemporary writer,
I don't need a contemporary writer to prove that he existed.
okay, so prove how you do prove he existed.
Tacitus, the Roman, he attests that he died on the Pontius Pilate, which we know he existed. We got proof of he existing. So you can
Tacitus' writings were tampered with. Tacitus didn't say that. Those letters were important.
Everything is tampered. Prove that, brother. Prove it was tampered with. You got to prove that.
Of course. Okay, let me see if I can find my book. Okay, I got it here.
Prove it.
I'll give you the dude who forged it.
All right, go ahead. Prove it. Prove that.
1 second. That's a 15th century appendum to his writings.
Reading right quick.
Huh?
Rabbi Lewis he's gonna go ahead and now I'm gonna go. I'm looking in the comments here. Someone says PHR says, "Where is y'all temple?" If he's speaking of, let me go. Someone in the private chat. Let me see what we have here. Yeah, of course. None of these. Yeah. Yeah, T-Man, we gonna get to the scriptures about Paul being an Israelite, because I mean we waiting for him to show a link to Paul being from Herod's line. He has not showed that yet. I pulled up Herod's lineage, and Paul is not nowhere in there. Nowhere. There's no link to Herod with Paul whatsoever. So I don't know where he's getting that from. But there's no link whatsoever.
So I found it. Tacitus' writings was
Are you gonna show us this? You gonna tell us what the source is? 'Cause I know you can't show it on your phone. You gonna tell us where to go?
Of course, I'm gonna get that to you, brother.
Okay. Well, give me 1 second, brother. And then tell me what the source. If you can email me the source, Rabbi Lewis. That'll be. I can just pull it up on the screen.
So you got to go for a second.
This is gonna be just a couple of seconds here. But can you email me the source so I can pull it up on the screen?
Yeah, it's easy to type in. Let me know when you're ready.
Wait a minute, I'm type. Can you just copy and paste it and just email it to me, because I'm gonna be typing www and all that / this and all that stuff.
I'm gonna get the guy's name. You'll see it pop right up, brother. His name was Robert Taylor. He said he wrote something called the Diegesis back in the 1800s. It says the passage about Tacitus was not known before the 15th century. There's a guy named Johannes de Spire. Taylor said he's the one who put that into Tacitus' writings in the hello? Hello?
Yeah, I'm right here, brother.
Yeah, so Robert Taylor is a scholar. He said that it was a guy named Johannes de Spire who forged Tacitus' writings in the 15th century. You can find this information in my book that I wrote called Research from Historical Jesus, Apostles as the Bunk. It's up on Amazon for $30. Hello?
That's pseudo stuff, bro.
No, the source is in my book, and I got the source in my book that I wrote. It's called The Search for Historical Jesus, Apostles as the Bunk by myself, Rabbi Lewis. So my work I wrote. So again, his name was Robert Taylor. He wrote something called the Diegesis in the 1800s, 1834 to be exact. And he said that letter of Tacitus was written by a guy named Johannes de Spire in the 15th century. So that letter is proven to be bogus from Tacitus. But try again. You can try again though.
But that dude is lying. That's pseudo stuff. And what scholars vouching for that nonsense right there, brother? We got the book. The book is in the 1500s. What are you talking about? This guy lived in the 2nd century.
You know how to get there, right? Yeah, well, I can read it. I'm chilling on 82nd Street, right? 82nd, right?
Okay, whose background is that? How did that come in there? Whose background was that? Everybody just muted. Okay. Anyway, Rabbi Lewis, you there?
Yes, brother. I'm here. I thought that was your background.
I don't know how that get me. I wasn't even on the. I don't know how that even. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that point. So
okay. So
You trying to refute Tacitus. I mean, there's other writers I can pull up about him. You know what I'm saying, that attest to him being an historical person. Other than Tacitus, there's other people I can pull up. You know
And
what I'm saying?
Tacitus was 55 AD. He's not a contemporary source anyway. But
But he okay is he's using Roman records, correct?
and Josephus quotes Tacitus, but those letters were forged. I told you, Eusebius forged those letters. That is a known fact in academia.
I didn't know. Eusebius lived in the 3rd century.
Yes, Josephus and Constantine compiled the New Testament and put it together. It was
You say
Eusebius and Constantine.
Eusebius went and he changed a Roman writer record. How can he do that?
Eusebius is the one who put that into Josephus's writings. He put that in there. That was actually him who did it.
How can he do that when the writings was originally written for the Roman, because they wanted a history of the Jews. That's what he was writing to them for, about the history. So you saying that Eusebius went and got the Roman records from Josephus and changed them? That what you said happened?
When he had the book, he had it and he tampered with it. The version of Josephus we have today has been tampered with.
All of them, every last copy.
I'm talking about the antiquities of the Jews.
You saying that Eusebius got every last copy of them from the Roman archives and changed all of them? Is that what you said happened?
What do you mean change all of them? It's the same book.
That there was copies of the book though. Was they not?
Okay, let's play. That would say it's true. Okay.
Okay, so you saying that how Eusebius went to Rome and somehow went into the archives and got Josephus' writings and changed all the copies of them because he lived 300 years later. They must have copied him between 300 years a few times. So how did he change every copy of them within 300 years? What you're saying doesn't make any sense. He lived in the 3rd century.
That's a straw man argument. Let me ask you a question.
How did a straw man argument? You making a case that don't make no sense at all. He couldn't.
Of course it does. It makes sense. So let me ask you a question, right? Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes, sir.
So you get for the audience, he failed to give me a contemporary writer, but let's go for it, right? Not to beat a dead horse. Can you hear me?
Yep.
What is the earliest depictions of Jesus on the cross? Like today, like when people wear a cross around their neck, people like anointing people spiritually with a cross. People have like Jesus hung up on the cross. You believe in the crucifixion, right?
I didn't hear you say again.
You believe in the crucifixion, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's the earliest pictures of Jesus on the cross in any church or monastery we can find?
I don't remember.
Yeah, so that's after the 7th century. So Jesus dies in the 1st century. There's no images up on the cross of the 7th century. Why? Because there was 2 councils in Nicaea. The second council. So yeah, there was 2 councils. If you want to get into that, we can talk about that.
What they gonna do with him being historical?
There's no images anywhere. You're not gonna find that one freaking image of Jesus on the cross being hung up like you see in churches today till the 7th century. So that means 6th century after he dies, there's no image up on the cross to the 7th century. That makes no sense.
Well, is there any image of Pontius Pilate?
Pontius Pilate.
Is there any image of Pontius Pilate?
It's bust. It is that bust of Pilate, yeah, like a bust.
No, the one that turned Christ over to get crucified. Is there any image of him?
That story's made up history.
They found archaeology that this man existed. Are you going to argue that?
Pilate?
Yeah, yes.
Who was Pilate's predecessor?
We ain't talking about. I'm talking about himself.
I'll just Pilate. But who was his predecessor? Do you know?
No.
Lentulus. Publius Lentulus, and he's a made-up person. The scholars all agree that Lentulus is a made-up character. But let's stick to Pontius Pilate. What year was Pilate fired from Jerusalem?
I remember Pilate a historical person is the point.
Bro, he got fired in 36 AD. He got fired.
You are agreeing he's an historical person, right?
Yes, he got fired in 36 AD.
Is there any depictions of him?
Yeah, they have bust of him. Yeah, I think I've seen a bust of him, at least one.
Where? What where?
Hold on, it's a false equivocation. You're trying to parallel or compare the Son of God to Pilate. That makes no sense.
I'm not comparing. I'm comparing you saying that there's no depiction of Jesus Christ, so he can't be real. So I'm saying you. Well,
No,
what about?
I didn't say that. I said just on the cross in any church, you're not gonna find it to after the 7th century.
I said
None.
what?
This is not gonna find any pictures of Jesus on the cross being hung up like we see today before the 7th century. It don't exist. From the 1st to 7th, there's no pictures of him doing that. Do you know why?
What did that got to do with him being historical?
Do you know why there's no picture of Jesus on the cross in the 7th century?
The question is, what do that have to do with him being historical?
Dude, that's insane. Like, he died in the first, he was crucified in the 1st century. The Son of God was crucified on the cross, but there's no pictures of him on the cross after the 7th century. 6 centuries later, the story was concocted.
They have cameras back then. Did they have cameras back then?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so what you want? What you want? A statue of him? What you want? What you looking for?
Why aren't there any images of Christ on the cross to the 7th century? After the 7th century, and it wasn't even popular to the 13th century. It wasn't hot to show him on the cross to the 13th century.
But does the Torah say not to make any graven images?
Yes.
Okay, so if so, you would have to have something graven with someone on the cross to have some kind of depiction of him, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the Torah allows that, yes or no?
Correct.
So that's why you don't have something like that.
That's bogus. At this point, the children of Israel were in exile. We were exiled after 70 AD because the Romans sacked the temple. We left Jerusalem. We left. So why didn't the Romans depict Jesus on the cross to the 7th to 13th century? The Romans. I'm not talking about the children of Israel who were in exile who had no power. I'm talking about the Roman Catholic Church, the Romans, the Christians church. Why didn't they have any picture on the cross? That's the question.
Why would the Romans make a depiction of a man who the people was saying that that's their king, their Messiah? It would go against what the Romans want to happen. The Romans, they want themselves to be viewed like that. Why would they put a statue of this man up to further motivate these people to rebel?
So he doesn't know history, obviously. And I'm sorry to be crass. It's an honor to be on your show, but obviously he doesn't know history. Pope Hadrian is the one, and it was 2 councils of Nicaea, 325 and 700. You with me?
Yeah, go ahead.
It was the 2nd council of Nicaea in the 700s. There was 2 Nicene councils. So the 2nd council, Pope said, okay, from now on, the cross will be a symbol of worship. So the reason why people have Jesus up on the cross in their churches, they're anointing people with the cross, they wear crosses around their neck. It's because of Pope Hadrian in the 2nd council of Nicaea. He's the dude that said, okay, now it's going to be used as a veneration symbol of worship. Make sense?
What, brother? You talking about something that have nothing to do with the historical Christ of the Bible?
Pope Hadrian is the one who said, okay, now we're going to use the cross as a symbol of worship. That was in the 700s.
Is Pope Hadrian and is he an Israelite?
Pope Hadrian, I don't know what he was because we were scattered at this point. I don't know if he was Israelite or not.
Did Pope Hadrian follow Torah?
He was a pope. He was a Roman Catholic pope.
Did he follow Torah?
Probably not.
Okay, so why are you listening to this man?
I'm not. I didn't say that. I don't know if you heard what I said. Can you repeat what I said?
You're quoting someone that don't matter to this conversation.
No, I said Pope Hadrian is the one who said, okay, from now on we're going to use the cross as a symbol of worship and veneration. That's what we're going to see Jesus on the cross after the 2nd council of Nicaea, because he's the dude who said, okay, now on the cross is going to be a symbol of worship. That's why people wear crosses around their neck. They're anointing people with the cross. They got Jesus up on the cross and their church being hung on the cross. You could chalk that up to Pope Hadrian.
What does that matter with the conversation that we're having, brother?
Because if Jesus died on the cross, which I don't believe in that, because I'm not a Christian. If he died on the cross, why didn't he put him up on the cross after the 7th to 13th century, 7 to 10 centuries after he dies? And there's no image on the cross to the 7th to 13th century. You're not going to find it anywhere in any church. I told you why.
Told you why you don't see it, because it's against the Torah. You agree it's against the Torah to do that.
But I'm not talking about. I didn't say amongst the children of Israel. I said amongst the known world. Because first of all, give me Psalms 147 real quick, 19 through 20.
But you keep talking again. You keep bringing about people who are not Israelites who don't keep Torah. They're irrelevant. What do they can say whatever they want to say? What they're saying is irrelevant. If they're not keeping Torah, they don't believe in the God of the Bible. What they're saying is irrelevant. We don't messing with that. That's nothing to us. All right, you said you want what you want now?
Psalms 147, 19 through 20.
Okay, why are we going here?
You know what? Matter of fact, I digress from that. What was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I got you. Yeah. Do you know the earliest Christians denied the crucifixion because they thought Jesus was God? He didn't have a real body. And I can prove that. I can prove that like with 5 sources right now.
What early Christians are you referring to? What give us a date. What date is that?
Yeah, let me pull it up. Hold on. I did a YouTube series on this on my YouTube channel actually. I gotta put my YouTube video on 1 second. Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Again, we are still waiting for you to link Paul to Herod. We have not seen evidence yet.
I gave you nothing but evidence, actually.
Oh, you haven't. I showed the man's lineage from the Bible, and none of that links back to Paul.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do that. Yeah, I was gonna go into that.
Let me show it again so people can see. I'm showing the lineage from Herod. Here it is again. Paul is not in this lineage nowhere. He pulled Drusilla in Acts 24. She's here. He pulled Antipas, Herod. He's here. All the verses are here that says him. They're all here. Paul lived at the time of Jesus Christ. If he was from this line, he would be here. Nothing is here. Paul is not from this line. We need to see the evidence Paul comes from the Herodian line. Here, the whole line is right here according to the Bible. You get all your verses. Everything here has verses on them, right? It's all here. Herod is all here. This is his children. This is all here. I'm not even getting into what Paul said he's an Israelite. I'm just showing you the lineage of Herod doesn't have Paul in it.
I'm back. Hello.
All right, go ahead, brother.
The first source is a guy named John Tolan, who wrote a book called The Nazarenes. He mentions Platonius. Platonius lived in the 4th century. He said that John Tolan quotes Platonius' work. He said he had a book called The Journey of the Apostles in the 4th century. That he has a 4th century document. It says that Jesus was not crucified and that the apostles had laughed at people thought he died on the cross. Right? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
John Tolan writes a book called The Nazarenes. He quotes Platonius, who says that Christ was never crucified, right? That's one source. Let's keep going.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold it. So who do we believe? Someone that lived in the 2nd century who was a Roman, who got Roman records that said that he was crucified under Pontius Pilate, versus someone that lived 300 years later that's making up stuff?
Oh, I said Platonius is a 4th century writer. He quotes a book called The Journey of the Apostles, an earlier writing, dated to the 2nd century. And it said that Jesus was not crucified, but the apostles had laughed at those who believed that he died on the cross. So Platonius' writings denies the crucifixion. Let's keep going.
Wait a minute. You said he quotes a book from the second. What book are you talking about? Who wrote the book?
The book is called, 1 second. It's by Platonius. Platonius had read it. The book is called The Journey of the Apostles. The Journeys of the Apostles was an early writing, which denies crucifixion. Let's keep going.
The journey, you said, wait a minute, the journey of Christ's apostles?
I said John Tolan writes a book called The Nazarenes. He's a scholar. He quotes Platonius' writings, who lived in the 4th century. Platonius claims he read a book called The Journey of the Apostles in English, where the apostles had laughed at the crucifixion and said it never happened, that somebody was made to resemble Christ.
The apostles of Christ laughed at the crucifixion?
Yeah, it says the book says Jesus was not crucified, but another was in his place. And Jesus and the apostles had laughed. Not only the apostles, Jesus also laughed, that believed that he died on the cross. He laughed.
That's all comedy right there. We can laugh at that nonsense. That makes no sense.
Okay, let's keep going. H. Lincoln and Michael Bagent and Richard Lee. It's 2 scholars. Can you hear me?
Yeah, brother, you pulling sources that don't make no sense. We have all these writings that they said this man said that his man dead. These men died for what they were saying. Why would someone go out there and lie, put their life on the line for a lie? It doesn't make any sense.
What are you talking about? Who baptized Jesus?
John the Baptist.
You do know before John the Baptist got beheaded, he denied Jesus was God, his divinity. You want me to get that verse? John the Baptist, before he was beheaded, sent letters saying, "Is he really the Christ?" He denied Jesus, and he baptized Jesus. He denies it right in the Bible.
Show the verse that says
that. Oh my God, you don't know the verse? Let me keep going with this.
No. Show that, but show John the Baptist, because you're putting a source that doesn't make any sense. Because who would actually believe that these men actually they killed them because they were saying that Jesus died on the cross?
John the Baptist, who I just told you, denied Jesus.
What verse says that?
He said before he got beheaded by Herod Agrippa, and this is Josephus' writings as well. He denied. He sent letters saying, "Is this Jesus? He really the real Christ?" I deny. He denied him right in the book.
Book, chapter, verse.
Oh, you want the verse? All right. It's also Josephus' writing.
Book, chapter, verse.
All right. It's a basic scripture, man.
Yeah, book, chapter, verse.
I'll get the verse. See if I can find it. Once again. Hello?
We right here, brother.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think I found it. Matthew chapter 11. 1 second. Hello?
Matthew chapter 9.
Matthew 11. Hold on, let me pull it up. Make sure I got the right verse.
Matthew 11.
Hold on. Don't quote that. Let me make sure I got the right verse.
No problem. Take your time, brother. We're not rushing here. We want to get to the truth of the matter. We're gonna take our time.
Hold on. Put you on mute 1 second. Yeah, I found it in Matthew 11, man. Let's see. John the Baptist himself. Hold on. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Matthew 11, 1 through 3. I found it. I'm about to show how John the Baptist, before he gets beheaded, denies Christ. He sends letters saying, "Is this guy really the Christ?" And he baptized him.
Matthew 11.
1 through 3, yeah.
All right, let's share the screen. Matthew chapter 11, verse 1, 2, 3. Let's punch this up. It's coming up right now. Taking his time. Matthew chapter 11, verse 1. And it came to pass, when Jesus had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. Now when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he sent 2 of his disciples and said unto him, Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another?
Headshot. So he's in prison because Herod Agrippa beheaded him, and that's in Josephus' writings. That's historical. He goes to verse 3 and say unto him, Jesus, art thou he that should come, or are we going to look for another person? This is right in Matthew. This is the same John the Baptist who baptized Jesus before in the beginning of his ministry. He sends letters like, is this nigga, sorry to curse, is he really the Christ? Now, come on, man, that's crazy. Like, but anyway,
okay, so he sent 2 disciples. The text tells you what he did. He said, now when John had heard in the prison the works of Christ, he heard what he was out there doing, right? Healing people, raising the dead, feeding 4,000, feeding 5,000, all this stuff, all the works that he was doing, right? Casting out demons. He heard all the stuff that he was doing, right? He sent 2 disciples and said unto him, Art thou he that should come, or do we look for another, right? He went and asked a question. He's asking a question. So you saying if I ask someone a question, am I denying someone by asking him a question?
Dude, that's insane, bro. I'm sorry to be crass. He baptizes him in the beginning of his ministries. Then when he's about to be beheaded by Herod Agrippa, he sends letters with saying, is this dude really the Christ? Is he
I'm
really the one that's come to come? He baptized them.
my question to you, if let's say you are a police officer, right? You're a police officer, right? Let's say you're a police officer, right? But you are doing things like an officer, but the main thing like an officer that you're supposed to be doing, you're not doing, right? You're doing things like an police officer, but the main thing that we are looking for you to do, the Messiah is supposed to come and take the Romans down, right? He's supposed to be the liberator to take down their enemies. He's doing all these miracles and stuff, but his main thing that he came to do, according to how they understand the Old Testament, to take down the Romans. He's not doing that. He's doing other stuff. So he's like, wait a minute. I gotta ask the question, like, are you him, or is there another person? That's why he's asking the question, because he's not doing the main thing that they all understood him to do, to take down their enemies. That's why he's asking the question, not in denying. How can he deny him if the Spirit told him specifically, the one you see the Holy Spirit come upon, that's him. He has visual proof that that's him. He's seen it. But because he's not taking down his enemies, the Romans, I mean, anybody, he wasn't the only one. You might get somebody the only one. The apostles asked him when he resurrected about turning the kingdom over to Israel. Everybody was waiting for the Messiah to come liberate them. Anybody would ask a question. If Christ came right now and was here going around doing, we would ask him, hey man, you're supposed to come and take down these Edomites from us and get us out of this country. We would ask him that, like, yo, are you the guy supposed to come take us out of here, or is there someone coming after you? Anyone would ask a question, because we're looking for something for you to do that you're not doing. This is just common thinking of a person to ask a question when you don't see something playing out the way you understand it. That's all this is. This is not a denial. How is this a denial? I've never heard someone ask a question and then that's a denial. And denial is an outright saying, I don't believe you're the Messiah. He just read it and said it. He received confirmation that he is the Messiah. Come on, Louis. You know he did, so come on, man.
Did he send a letter saying, is this guy Christ?
Who?
John the Baptist.
Sent a letter?
Yes.
Where? No, where's that? I never seen that.
Read verse 1 through 3 again, brother.
And it came to pass, when Jesus had made an end of commanding his 12 disciples, he departed thence to teach and to preach in their cities. Now when John had heard in the prison the work of Christ, he sent to his disciples. What letter did he send? He sent to his disciples.
Oh, excuse me. He sent to his disciples. Yeah, read on.
And said unto him, art thou he that should come, or do we look for another?
Right. So he's like, is you the Christ, or is another person coming? Do you agree with that? Do you agree he said that?
Did he say what?
In verse 3, are you the Messiah, or is there somebody else coming? Do you agree with that he said that?
I would agree with that. I mean, it doesn't say the word Christ in it, but I can agree that art thou he that should come, which we are waiting for the Messiah. So yeah.
Okay. Why did he doubt that he was a Messiah?
Because he wants to take down their enemies. He won't take down the Romans. Even you, brother, you right now, Louis, you are waiting. You yourself, according to the Quran, you are waiting for Esau to come. Jesus, correct?
Of course, he's coming back. I agree with that. The only thing I disagree with is the crucifixion.
My question to you: If Esau came back, right? Esau, Jesus, if he came back and he was doing certain things, but he wasn't doing what the Quran said he was supposed to do, would you ask him a question and say, "Yo, what's going on? How come you're not doing X, Y, Z?" Would you ask him a question or no?
If you could get that close to him, I mean, if you could get right up close to him like that, it's unrealistic.
Christ is accessible. He's out in the crowd of the people. He's accessible. He's not hiding somewhere. I'm saying if Esau was here right now doing some other stuff, and he's saying I'm Esau, and you're like, okay, everything's in the lineup except for this part right here, according to the Quran, he's supposed to be doing X, Y, Z. He ain't doing it, and he came out in the public. Anybody would ask me, how come you're not doing X, Y, Z? It's a simple question. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you ain't the person. I'm just asking, like, what's going on? That's basically what he's doing here. Like, I understand you're gonna come down and take so and so down. I mean, is it you gonna take him down, or somebody else? Because maybe I missed something that I didn't quite understand. Because my understanding is you're gonna take him down. So I'm in prison. I can't come to you personally. So I sent to my disciple to ask you, are you the one that's gonna come and take the Romans down? You know, the Messiah, or is there someone else coming after you?
All the Jews did believe that. Give me the Star Squad of Judah. Give me that in Genesis. Your verse, it says Star Squad of Judah.
You want Genesis what? And we gotta get to this grafted in stuff too, man. You gotta get the right understanding on this grafted in stuff. Cause there is no Gentiles grafted in, no non-Israelite that's grafted in.
I agree with that. I said the Northern Kingdom. Star.
I thought you said Gentiles was grafted in.
Never. I would never say that.
Okay. Right.
Genesis 49:10. Oh no, my bad. One verse. 1 second. No, one verse. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, verses a star should come out.
That's numbers.
Huh?
That's numbers.
Yeah, numbers. Give me that in numbers. Yeah.
Numbers 20. I think it's 23. I'll get it for you.
I found it. Numbers 24:17. Hello?
Yeah.
I found it. Numbers 24:17. I'm sorry.
All right. Okay, you want to go here for what reason?
Because you made an excellent eloquent statement that all the Jews it's like, is this guy really the Christ?
Okay, Numbers 24 verse 17. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Shet.
Yeah, you know who fulfilled this, right? Who the Jews thought fulfilled this?
Who the Jews thought fulfilled this?
Yeah.
Was you about these fake Jews, or what you want in the Bible?
No, the Jews of the 1st, 2nd century.
David.
No.
Who?
You don't know?
Hezekiah?
No.
No, I don't know that.
Simon Bar Kokhba. The word Kokhba is Aramaic. You know what Kokhba means, right?
Star.
Star. Yeah. So they thought they was Simon Bar Kokhba. Now Simon Bar Kokhba was alive 100 years after Jesus already was crucified. So the Jews were still waiting for a Messiah. You agree with that, right?
Yeah, some of them were, not all of them. Now some of them were.
Yeah, so the Jews thought Simon Bar Kokhba was the Mashiach. They was, okay, he's the Messiah that was prophesied to come, not Jesus. They thought it was Simon Bar Kokhba who was heralded to come. They didn't believe in Jesus. They believed Simon Bar Kokhba was the Christ. And that's why he's called Bar Kokhba, which means Aramaic, a son of the star. Make sense?
Okay, wait a minute. Are you saying there was no Jews that believed that he was the Messiah?
Who?
Jesus.
No, I said the Jews of the 1st, 2nd century didn't believe in Jesus. They believed that Bar Kokhba was the Messiah, not Christ.
Are you saying none of them believe he was the Messiah? I'm asking you.
None. I wouldn't say none, but most of them didn't believe it because they pedestaled Bar Kokhba as the Christ. They thought he was the Christ to come, prophesied to come from our numbers, not Jesus.
Okay, but you would agree that Bar Kokhba don't fit this though, correct?
Okay, so the earliest church fathers interpreted it as a twofold prophecy of David and Bar Kokhba. So they said it's a twofold prophecy. That would explain that.
But how does Bar Kokhba fit this? I'm asking you.
I just said the earliest church father said this was a double fulfillment. Like, let me give you an example. Give me Daniel's 9
Okay,
and
I'm not
27.
Lewis. I'm asking you. Forget them church fathers. I'm asking you. How do Barcoba fit this verse right here?
Mm-hmm. It's just
I'm asking
partially
you.
David.
Church fathers.
David partially fulfilled this.
Okay.
David is the one. David subdued the Moabites. Would you agree with that, right?
Yes.
Now, David's grandmother was a Moabite, but anyway.
I'm
So
asking you. How
David,
do Barcoba, not David? How do Barcoba fit this? I'm saying.
I didn't say he did. I said the early Jews thought he was the fulfillment of this
Okay,
and heralded him as the
I
Mashiach.
understand. So you would agree that Barcoba don't fit this. You would agree with that. He don't fit this, correct?
Oh yeah, I don't believe Barcoba was the Mashiach. I don't believe that.
Got you. All right. Okay.
But the earliest Jews did. That's what I'm saying. Articulating. Okay, so wait. Oh yeah, give me Daniel's 9:27 real quick. I know it's getting late. I know it's Shabbat.
Yeah, we are still waiting for the link to Paul coming from Herod's line. We still have not got that information.
Oh yeah, let's deal with that first. Let's deal with that. Go to Wikipedia and type in list of Roman governors of Syria.
Type in what?
Hold on. Before we go to Wikipedia, hold on 1 second. Let's go to Matthew the 2nd chapter real quick. Matthew chapter 2. And I agree the Gentiles cannot be saved. I would agree with that. So anyway. One second.
No rush. No rush. We take our time.
I'm sorry, not Matthew. I'm talking about Luke. I'm sorry. Luke chapter 2. I got next time. Yeah, Luke 2, start at verse 1. He said that the Romans tampered with history.
So this is going to prove that. This is going to prove that Paul is from Herod's line.
Yeah, further proof. Yeah, Luke chapter 2, start at verse 1.
Luke chapter 2, verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that they went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed.
Yes, so Caesar Augustus said, okay, the world have to be taxed, you know.
And this taxing was first made by Cyrenius when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. He said that's added, right? This is added, right?
Yes, that's not the original text.
This is added, right?
Of course it is. But do you know who Cyrenius was?
This was a historical person.
Of course he existed. I'm saying, what year did he come governor of Syria?
What year? What?
Read verse 2 again. And
this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria.
Right. So the tax because we're going to keep reading. What year was this? What year did Cyrenius come governor of Syria?
This had to be somewhere in the BC.
No, 6 AD. That's when he became governor of Syria. 6 AD. Okay, keep reading.
That can't be.
I'll prove that right now. Let's prove that. Type in
That can't be accurate. That's because Jesus Christ right here. He's in his mother's womb. This is he about to be born in this year. He wasn't.
The Bible contradicts itself. In Matthew, he's born during Herod the Great's reign. And in Luke, he's born when Cyrenius king governor of Syria. 2 different birthdays.
How's your 2 different birthdays?
In Matthew, he's born when Herod the Great is alive. In Luke, he's born when Cyrenius king governor of Syria. Herod, what year did King Herod die?
4 BC, they say.
4 BC. So we know Jesus had to be born in 6 to 7 BC.
You have to be like around 1 or 2 BC. He's about 2 years old at this time.
Right, but in Luke, he's born when Cyrenius king governor of Syria. Now let's look up Cyrenius. Copy and paste Cyrenius' name real quick. That's who he was. That was 6 AD. Put it in Wikipedia. He's also known as Quirinius, same person. Hello?
Yeah, I'm looking.
You look it up real quick.
I'm giving my source right now that's going to tell me when Cyrenius was actually.
Just type it in, brother.
I have a book here with the source. I'm gonna pull up and see what it says.
Sure.
You can try to get it correct. I don't know what you're gonna get all kind of different sources when you Google stuff. They're gonna give you everything. You got to direct down to the right one. That's what you're gonna get. Whole plenty of sources and stuff. Okay, it's not telling us when he was. So far. All right, get another. This one's gonna tell me though. I need to find it. Okay, you said it was 6 BC. Is that what you're saying?
6 AD.
Say what?
6 AD.
6 AD. Okay. No, we don't. I ain't got time to be looking. We can debate that for sure. Because I know that's wrong. That's clearly.
Just go to Wikipedia. Just copy and paste his name and go to Wikipedia.
This thing allowed me to copy this man's name. It's clicking on it. I'm gonna click on the verse. This is what it's doing. All right. He said Cyrenius was governor of Syria. Let's do that.
Copy and paste Cyrenius. Go to Wikipedia real quick.
Okay. Let me see if Wikipedia is gonna bring this up.
That's Cyrenius, same person. He's also no Cyrenius. His name is Cyrenius.
Hold on. So we have it here. Publius Sulpicius Cornelius, AD 51 BC to AD 21. Translated as Cyrenius, as a Roman aristocrat. So we have, and he said after the banishment of the Ephtenarch Herod Archelaus from the Tetrarchy of Judea in AD 6, Cornelius was appointed legate governor of Syria.
Headshot. There you go. He was appointed governor of Syria in 6 AD. So Luke, Jesus born in 6 AD because they went up to get taxed. So this is the same year. This, huh?
Relax. That's just one. I can start telling you, when you do this, you're gonna get a few of them. He said, look, this one here says that was made governor of Syria in 4 BC, as confirmed by archaeology. Cyrenius, that's right here. See this? You looking at this, right? He says, confirmed by archaeology that it was in 4 BC. Archaeology confirmed this.
That's been disputed.
But you're gonna dispute archaeology?
I've seen no sources. It's been disputed.
Okay. Click on it.
I've already seen these. So I can
click on it.
I did this research 6 years ago.
If you Google something, you're gonna get a whole bunch of different dates. They said they got archaeology that says he was in 4 BC, which would be smack dead what Luke is saying. Cyrenius, Caesar Augustus I, and probably the greatest of the Roman, consolidated the power under himself and officially translated the days of the Roman. And get to the part with Cyrenius. Where is it? 1480. Jesus was born. Blah blah blah. Governors and Cyrenius or Quintinus was made governor of Syria in 4 BC, as confirmed by archaeology. It says it right here.
Archaeological proof.
It says the province of Syria. You're gonna have to go down. See if they
talk. No proof. It's not about conjecture.
It says right here, click here for the list of evidence for that's creation topics. Okay, what I'm saying, this is saying archaeology. They're not showing. This is what is this? Books, Defenders, Discovery, and Defended. Yeah, they're not. I guess I have to try to Google the archaeology. You have to Google the archaeology so we can find it. I don't know where it is. We can go back though. Let's go back. See another one. Because you have different ones that's here. They're going to say different things. You're going to see 6. You're going to see 4. And this is the problem. That's why I'm saying with these sources here, people just pick the one that want to fit their thing. And I can pull one or two that says 4 BC. You can put one that says 6 BC. We're going to go back and forth with this stuff right here. This is what we're going to have. I'm trying to see the one. I don't see the Wikipedia one up here, brother. The one you're looking for. I don't know if this top one is the Wikipedia one. It doesn't say this. Oh, this is Wikipedia. This is it right here. This is the Wikipedia one that says 6 AD. Who was governing Assyria in 4 BC? It says it right here again. This is the Cornelius Various Encyclopedia.com. Encyclopedia.com. They're saying it's 4 BC. This is another source. So I mean, we're going to be back and forth with this because I mean, you can pull something, I can pull something, but none of your sources mention that they have archaeology to prove what they're saying. The source I'm pulling is saying they got archaeology to back up what they're saying, which is different. And this is the encyclopedia, and they would have their sources to prove what they're saying. So we can stop. That's not going to get us nowhere. You know what I'm saying? That's not proving that it's a lie. If we have to debate it, I pull all my sources. You know what I'm saying? That this was 4 BC. So we can go on from that point, but that does not prove that Luke is wrong. And again, once I find out in my notes, because I know that Matthew and Luke is on the same page. But again, we go on to the next point, and then we're waiting for the proof that Paul is from the Herod line. You have that? Okay, I guess not. He doesn't have that. Okay.
I'm back. Sorry. Of course, we have Josephus' writings. Let's quote it.
You have who?
Josephus' writings. He said it. Let's get it.
Josephus said that Paul was an Edomite?
Yeah.
Okay. Where? So we can. I'll Google that so we can pull that up.
Antiquity of the Jews 29:4 says, and I quote. Hello.
Wait, can I pull it up?
Yeah, let me read it.
But I want to show everybody so they can see it.
Yeah, he mentions Saulus. Saulus, Paul's name was Saul as well. Would you agree?
History of the Jews.
Would you agree that Paul's name was also called Saulus?
No, I don't know about that.
Okay, let's get that on the Bible. 1 second.
All right, so just let me know what I have the whole Josephus thing here pulled up. Let me know where you need me to
Go
go.
to Acts 13:9. The Paul that Saul was called Paul. Acts 13:9. Put Saul and Paul are the same person.
Yeah, his name was Paul. His Hebrew name is Saul. Saul.
Let's prove that. Acts 13:9.
Acts 13:9.
Start at verse 8.
But Elymas, the sorcerer, for so is his name by interpretation, withstood them, seeking to turn away the deputy from the faith. Then Paul, who also is called Saul, filled with the Holy Ghost, set his eyes on him.
Headshot. It says, Then Saul, who's also called Paul, filled with the Holy Ghost, set his eyes on him. So Paul was Saul, the same person. That's proof.
Okay, but I mean, you saying Paul? I mean, Paul is another someone that could have been called Paul too as well.
Right. Let's quote. She's right. It says Coastal Baris. Hold on. Can you hear me? Someone's texting.
Okay, I think we're the Jews. Which one is it now?
Text to the Jews 29:4. If you got the book with you.
Is that book 1 or book 2?
Antiquities of the Jews.
Book 1, book 2, book 3.
I don't know, but it says, and I quote, Costa Baris also in Saulus, who's Paul. He's established Saulus as Paul. Hello?
That's Saulus. That's not Paulus. Saulus is an S. Paul is Paul with a P.
No, his name was also Saulus.
No, not Saulus. His name it would be Paulus, yeah, with a P, but not Saulus.
I just showed you his name was Saul and Paul.
No, the name is Saul, Hebrew.
Yeah, Saul. Costa Baris and Saul did themselves gather a multitude of wicked wretches, and this because they were of the royal family, and they obtained favor among them because of their kindred to Agrippa, who was Herod. Okay, so it says writing that Costa Baris and Saul were kindred to Agrippa, who was an Edomite. So that's right in Josephus' writings.
But how can you prove that's the apostle Paul? How you prove that that's him? Saul is another common name as well too. There's other people that have named Saul. Wasn't just him. You have to prove and identify that that's him. You just can't pick any random name. Come on, bro. I know you know better. You can't pick any random name, man. You just say that this is this man. And anybody can do that to you. There's many people named Lewis. I can pick anyone named Lewis and say that that's you. And be like, how's that me? All right, come on. So you have no proof then that links back up to the Apostle Paul.
All I gave you was proof all night, brother. Not to be rude or crass. All I've been doing is
that's a random name. Come on, bro. How does that make any sense? It's a random name. You think like there's only one person that has that name, Saul. If there was, then there'd be no question.
Right.
Okay, so how do you know that Saulus that you read there is the Apostle Paul? How do you know that?
Most scholars are consistent that this is Paul of the Bible. But let's say it's a common name. That's conjecture. I gave you like 6 different examples to prove he was Edom. I'm not going to go over them again. But if you play the clip back for the audience, you'll see that I proved it.
No, show one of them right now.
What do you mean?
One proof that he goes back to the Herod family that you said you pulled earlier. Where?
I gave you 2 proofs. I showed you that the only people who were citizens at birth in Rome were the Edomites under Antipater until Hadrian. I showed you how.
You didn't show that. You said it, but you didn't show it.
It's in something called the Latin Rites. You look at the Latin Rites. It says right there in the Wikipedia, Latin Rites. It says that Hadrian was the one who modified the Latin Rites. Hello?
Uh-huh.
In 123 AD. He's the one who said, okay, you could be a citizen at birth despite your nationality. That was like 70 years after Paul died. When Paul lived, the only people who were citizens at birth were the Herodians under Antipater.
Okay, you agree that Paul is from Tarsus, correct?
Yeah, that's Rome.
Tarsus is not Rome. How is Tarsus Rome?
Paul he was a Roman citizen. I said he was a citizen at birth. The only people who were citizens at birth at the time were the Herod's family of Antipater.
Okay, Paul is from Tarsus, right? You agree, right or no?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, you know that Tarsus was a province of Rome, right?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and show you something now. This is from my email. How's Paul a Roman citizenship? During the time of Pompey in 67 BC, Tarsus was made capital over the Roman province of Sicilia, and Jews began to receive Roman citizenship. Antony, who controlled the eastern provinces, declared the city free in 42 BC. Tarsus continued to receive special privileges under Augustus, who exempted the city from imperial taxation during Antinorius. His teacher and friend was a Tarsian. Tarsus grew into a cultural and intellectual center. Stoic philosophers like Antenzodorus, Zeno, Antipater, and Nestor lived in the city in the 1st century AD. This is how Paul got Roman citizenship. It was given to them, and Jews began to receive Roman citizenship, and Antonius made it free. That's what Paul says. I was born free. It's what he's saying here. See, declared the city to be free. That's what Paul is saying in Acts, brother. This is right here. You can Google this. Paul Roman citizenship. It's all here. I'm showing it to you.
Go to Acts 10 and 1. Let's rebuttal that.
All right. Let me stop sharing this. You want to go to Acts what now?
10 and 1.
Acts 10 and 1. Okay. Let me share my screen. Acts chapter 10, verse 1. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band.
Yeah, so this is an ahistorical statement. It says, scholar named Robert M. Grant claims that during this time, no Roman troops were stationed in that territory. So it says in Acts 10, a Roman centurion called Cornelius belonged to the Italian band regiment. But according to Robert M. Grant's work, who's a biblical scholar, there were no Roman troops stationed there in that territory at the time. Okay. Also, Wedderburn likewise finds the narrative historically suspect. Okay.
Man, these guys giving you a bunch of conjecture, bro. How does he know what time was this anyway? Does he know what time this is?
Yeah, during the reign of Herod Agrippa. So when it says that there was a Roman centurion called Cornelius to the regiment stationed in Caesarea, there was no Roman troops there in that territory at the time. This is an ahistorical statement. There were no troops there at the time.
Acts chapter 10 is in Romans Agrippa's time. Is that what he said?
Yeah, it's around the time of Agrippa's rule. Yeah, same time. Okay, hello?
Yeah. I'm listening.
Hold on. It says, the Italian regiment is identified as called horse. I don't speak Latin. A unit was present in Judea as attested no earlier than 69 AD. So the Bible says, hello?
I'm listening.
This was going on in 37 to 44 AD, but this is not contested. This is not happening to 69 AD. So the Bible places the event around 37 to 44 AD, but the historians place it to 69. So there was no unit like that in Judea at the time, until way after this story was concocted.
This is in Caesarea. It says there was a certain man in Caesarea.
Yeah, there were no Italian regiment there at the time until 69 AD.
In Caesarea, or are you talking about in Judea? Which one are you talking about?
In Caesarea.
Okay, where is Caesarea located?
In Israel.
Where in Israel is Caesarea located? Exactly. Do you know exactly where Caesarea is located?
It's in the northern. It was around Samaria, right?
Is it around where?
It's in the northern tribe territory, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. We're going to stop in the speculation. Let's just look it up so we can end this nonsense.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. We're still sharing. Let me pull something else up right quick. Hold on 1 second. No, we don't need this anymore. Caesarea town in Israel. Okay, let's pull this up right quick. Caesarea was a built Roman Empire, ruled Judea, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? It says this location there. It says during 22 to 10 BC. 22 to 10 BC. Here we go. I just rolled past it. Location. Since was Martimia was a port built by Herod the Great in 22 BCE. The site is Hellenistic period. People telling us the location. This is not okay. All right. Distance from Jerusalem. There we go. 88. Yeah, my goodness. We need some 88 kilometers from Jerusalem. 88 miles, something like that.
Hello?
Yeah, it's 88 kilometers.
I want to say one thing to I misspoke earlier. Hello?
Go ahead, brother.
I said Jesus Camarius, and Josephus Wright was asked his name was Jesus ben Damnius, not Camario. His name was and Josephus was writing testimony to Flavinium. Hello? His name was not Jesus Camarius. His name was Jesus ben Damnius, who was executed by Ananias the high priest. Okay.
I'm saying, do you see this right here? This was Herod the Great about 25 to 30 BC of the port.
Yeah. So his name was Jesus ben Damnius, not Camarius. I'm sorry I misspoke earlier. Okay, go ahead. I just want to clear that.
All right. So we have with Caesarea. So this is somewhere in northern. This is somewhere in northern Israel.
Yeah, I said northern Israel. We said the northern Samaria was around Samaria.
Okay. All right. We can stop this. All right. Okay. So again, you saying Luke is wrong here again? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it speaks of a centurion Italian regiment that wasn't there till 69 AD. And this took place in 37 AD. There's no records of an Italian regiment on a Roman centurion on the Cornelius being there.
So where's the proof of that?
This is in the historian named E. Mary Smallwood's work. Also another scholar named Robert M. Grant's work. Two scholars that quote my book.
Okay. I'm asking where are they source proof at? Where are they sourcing this from?
Oh, let me go back and look again.
Where are they sourcing that from?
It's in my book. I'll publish all to myself, as I already know.
Yeah.
I don't have the source for this. But again, the two scholars, Robert and Grant and E. Mary Smallwood's work. She's an historian.
Okay, so we have no source for that. All right, okay, we can move on then.
Yeah, certainly. So I think I've been proving that Paul's an Edomite. I think I effectively proved that.
No, you have not proved that. We're still waiting for the you got the name wrong. You said Saulus, and you said that's Saul. And I said, well, anybody that could have been any random name, someone named that. How you know that's the Apostle Paul? You have not shown us the Apostle Paul. You're taking a random name and saying that's Paul. That's not proof.
I already told you Paul's father's name was Phallus III, who was Herod the Great's son.
Okay, show the proof of that.
I gave you the source.
What source you gave us?
Oh, let me pull it back up. You can find the source of my work. I'm going to have to follow soon because my phone's about to die.
No problem. All right, you better wrap it up. So far, we have not seen any proof of Paul being an Edomite. We've seen conjecture, speculation. Again, I can pull up what the scriptures has. The scripture have their lineage. I have the Herod. Let me pull it up again. Let me show it again. Here's the Herod lineage here again. The Herods of the New Testament. Herod the Great. Matthew 2:1, Luke 1:5. This is his 4 wives here that he had. And this is their children. Is all here. Paul is not in this lineage. If he was, it would be here. The Apostle Paul is not an Edomite. Not from the line of Herod. You pulled Drusilla when you first started in Acts 24:24. She's here. You see where she comes from. Herod Agrippa the First. That's who she come from. You see the line go back to there. Where is Paul in here? If Drusilla is there, it should have showed us that Paul comes from this line too. Not here. All right, do you have your source, Lewis?
Certainly. Again, you can find us in my work, my book. I'll pick it up. I got the footnotes, but Paul's father was Fascio III, who again was the son of Herod the Great, who tried to kill Jesus. So Paul was the great grandson of Herod the Great. His dad was Herod the Great's son. And again, I have the sources of my work. We're gonna have to call it a night soon, next 10 minutes, because my phone's like almost done. But let me say this, man. It was a real honor to be back on your show, brother Elder. Yeah, man. It's been a minute, man. It's always been an honor to speak to you, brother, as always, man. And I hope, inshallah, this khutbah was edifying.
Hey,
do
you know that they're starting a new debate league with Black Jesus Minister and then 3 other guys?
Yeah. BJ's a good friend of mine. We used to be good friends. I don't know. But
are you part of the league or what?
They invited me to come on, but I've been super busy drop shipping and running a business. 2 new companies I started, so I haven't had the time.
Okay, all right, yeah, because they're about to start up.
You in the debate league?
Yeah. I'm in there.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
Well, that's awesome, man. I turned it down. They came to me with the idea, but I'm too busy right now. I couldn't pledge to a debate league.
I understand, bro. If you're too busy, then yeah, man, you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? It makes complete sense.
Yeah. Like I asked, I had to come on the show. He said I got to pay him $40. So I got $40. Ain't no big deal. But somebody be coming on their show next week. Look out for that.
On whose show you said?
Source Debate League.
The Source Debate. Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah, Yah's group, Source Gang.
Yeah, man. I was trying to. They don't want me over there, man. And they're afraid of me to debate over there.
Oh, I think they're not Hebrew Israelites. Yah's still Israelite, but I think Yashar, what's his name? Not Yashar. Yahshu's not an Israelite anymore, from what I know.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's been going on the Hebrew Israelites about the DNA stuff, and I thought he was a Hebrew Israelite. Now I guess he dropped his flag. I guess he felt the truth or whatever. I don't know, but yeah.
All right, Lewis, man. You get some closing comments, man, and we're gonna close it out, bro. You get some closing comments, bro.
Yeah, certainly. It was an honor, brother. Shabbat shalom to the mishpacha, to the body of Christ. Repent, the end is near. Christ is gonna be back, soon, because all hell's about to break loose. Please repent. Accept Jesus, Yahushua as your Lord and Savior as well. Thanks again, guys. It was an honor.
Thank you for coming on, brother. Thank you for that, man, for the dialogue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay, brother.
All right, guys. Good night, guys. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. All right, so here you have it, Lewis. So we have no definitive proof that Paul was an Edomite. So Emmanuel, you want to say something? Maybe get ready to close this out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Emmanuel, you there? If you're not there, I'm going to close it out, brother. All right, let me close it out first on the club deck right quick. All right, thank y'all for listening. Y'all hit the replay. Any questions, y'all can reach out to Lewis. Punch him up, on YouTube. All right. He go by Rabbi. I don't call no man Rabbi, but he go by Rabbi Lewis. So you punch that up, you will see him, and you can reach out to him, ask him any questions. All right. So let me close out the club deck. All right, got that, and about to close out also the YouTube. So again, you can reach out to me. All the information is scrolling on the bottom of the screen. If you need to reach out to me and have any questions or anything like that, you get the email address is there. Reach out anytime. With that, I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom.